So, yeah. Anyways, I am going to be looking into what is our spiritual light and how do we let it through? How can I let my light shine? And if we're not seeing it in everybody, then there's something going on. There's a blockage going on. And you might have noticed that there's a little bit of an LGBTQ2IA plus theme today. And that is because it is Gay Pride Month here in Ottawa. And we are honoring this glorious community. And if there's any community that can let its light shine, it's the LGBTQ2IA plus community, especially during Pride Week. It is quite an amazing experience to behold. And part of the reason it's one of those places where you can shine is because it's the first time for many people to actually live who they were meant to be, with a sense of freedom and peace. So I'm going to fill you in on where the saying "Let Your Light Shine" came from, and how the LGBTQ2IA plus members can be fully supported in letting their light shine, how you can let your light shine, and how we can also be there to support those who are not quite open yet to that community, that are not allowing others to let their light shine. In our spiritual light, everything is good and is possible. All beings are good, as we know from our second principle at Unity, which is you are an aspect of God, therefore inherently good. And Unity is quite predominant in allowing people to let their light shine. Just to begin by saying that in my experience, I just want to actually talk about the acronym LGBTQ2IA plus. Not everybody knows what it means. We know it expresses sexual diversity, but we don't always know every word. So I'll just start there. So the acronym represents lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning, two-spirit, the Indigenous edition, intersex, and asexual plus. So LGBTQ2IA plus. Okay. The plus could also include pansexual. Sexuality is diverse, and we have tried way too hard to keep it into one little straight box, but it's unnecessary. So when I came out, this acronym was three letters, LGB. Are you going to the LGB dance? Yes, we are. LGB pride? Yes. So it's very interesting to me that how we're starting to really understand the large group of people who really were not being fit in. Even the LGBT group was not that open, and now we're becoming all more open. So I've got a really little interesting joke for you. You might not know this, but ministers are encouraged to tell jokes, but they don't always tell good jokes. I've been around a lot of bad jokes, and this might be one of them, but let's just try this one. So why are LGBTQ2IA plus people so fashionable? Because they spent a lot of time in the closet. So unfortunately, that did not work for my wife. And Anne likes to say that she was raised in the wrong closet, and I'm the intervention. So even yesterday, we were going out to a really fancy restaurant for lunch for celebrate a friend's birthday. And Anne walks out, we're getting ready to go, and she walks out in a t-shirt with a tiger on it. And I'm thinking, I know you're Tiger, Anne, but maybe a little something different for today's lunch. Anyways, we play with that one. So can you let your light shine? Do you have the space to do that? Because you are the light of the world. It is the essence of your loving source, the God within, that you have a light inside. No matter what your gender or your sexual orientation, your culture or education, you are the light of the world. And this is why you would think it'd be easy, that there would be no discrimination by now in the world. Yet, as we know, it's rampant. There's rampant discrimination in the world. Even in a great country like Canada, where we're trying really, really hard to be inclusive, there's still a lot of discrimination in the world where we would hope there'd be great openness to diversity. The light of God that is within each of us is our essence, and yet we don't often see it because we don't create space for it, space for people to allow it through, because we don't create that safety and security. And we don't allow our own to come through because we are stuck in cultural bias. And that is one of our greatest tragedies, really. So when you're having trouble, or if at any point you have trouble seeing someone, you need to, in their light, you need to take time to really look in to see that that person is more than the bones that they are, the body that they are, the clothes that they are in their essence, the light of God and the world. And so it's really time that we start paying attention to helping others let their light shine. I can remember the words of the song from the play Godspell. So, and this week was the first time I actually put it together that Godspell was a play on words for the gospel. Gospel, Godspell. Like 40 years later, I finally got it. And in this play, they have this one song that says, "You are the light of the world." And I had never heard that before until I was a teenager. And I really wanted to know what it meant. So I went on a hunt. And I kind of knew Godspell. I kind of knew it was probably going to be found in the Bible, which is where I found it. And the Bible has been used against the LGBTQ2IA plus community. So what I'm going to do today is show you where the Bible supports us. And so if you ever need help, write down these verses I'm going to share with you and bring those to the people who purport to know better than you about what light is in you. So one of my favorites, I certainly love Matthew. Matthew is the first gospel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay, so in chapter 5 of Matthew, verses 14 to 16. Now Matthew's speaking as though he were Jesus. And he says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand and it gives light to everyone in the house." Yes, let that light shine from within. And in the same way, he said, "Let your light shine before others." And he didn't say whose light. This is for everybody. He didn't say you and you and you can't let your light shine. This is for everybody. So let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your teacher in heaven, the one loving source. Here we're hearing about how important it is that when you live in awareness of your inner light, you can express it outward for all to experience this light. Everybody has that light. You are the light of the world. This light is love, it is wisdom, it is compassion, it is intelligence. Let it shine. So equally as important, I read in the book of John. Now, John is my favorite gospel. John is the gospel that says, "I am this, I am that." He was the guy who wrote about the New Thought movement. He was the first New Thought presenter. I am this, I am that. You'll see. If you pick it up, you'll see there's at least 7 main statements in which Jesus says, "I am this and I am that." You'll see. So the 4th gospel is John. And it is a light, bright, metaphysical, mystical book. And in John 8, verse 12, he says, as the words of Jesus, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Now, this is crazy making back then. You have to understand, this is about, so we are 2024. This is year 31 to 32, around that. that we would have heard from Jesus. Now, it was written about later, right? Maybe 70, 80 CE. But this was absolutely groundbreaking stuff. I am the light of the world. What? Are you kidding me? In the Iron Age? That is amazing. So this statement was the beginning of really expressing that God is inside of us. I am the light. Hello, it's right here. This is the first time that this is expressed in the world. So this is what they call the good news, right? So if you ever hear people talk about, oh yeah, you have the Good News Bible, or have you heard about the good news? That's it, right? God made manifest through humankind is the good news from our way shower. Now we know Jesus, but he's not our savior at Unity. He is our way shower. He is our teacher, right? But not our savior. So he expressed that God is within, and it comes through us as light, which, by the way, metaphysically, because we interpret the Bible metaphysically at Unity, light means intelligence, divine intelligence, all intelligence, all potential intelligence. That's my resident neighbor, Blue Jay. All the potential intelligence that is possible is already inside you all the time. Just have to be willing and capable of opening it up and let that through to shine. And when you let your light shine, you're going to feel better, because it is how you allow your health to flourish, how you allow your happiness through. And it's a sign of self-love. When you can allow it through and enter flow, that's self-love. And when you follow that light, because Jesus said that he was the light and you are too, if you follow this light, you'll see how in that light at no time can you discriminate against others. So you see those individuals who are still discriminating against the LGBTQ2IA plus community, against people of color, people because of their education or their size or their ability, they are not yet in their light. And I would just love to help them more so that we could have a world that is free of discrimination, where we don't have to hide, because it's exhausting hiding. It really is. So shortly after that statement, I am the light of the world, John 8. So from 13 to 15, those verses, he said this, which is really interesting. So you have to know that at the time, the Pharisees were the highest rulers of the Jewish people. Like they were the high rabbis, okay? Excuse me. So the Pharisees said to him, you're bearing witness about yourself. Your testimony is not true. Because they don't want a Messiah. They don't believe any Messiah. They've been calling for Messiah for a couple thousand years, but at no time do they believe any of the men who've shown up are the Messiah. Okay, because there's multiple people, not just Jesus, who showed up. And there's people with thousands of followers who showed up to claim the Messiah position. And so they said, no, you are not who you say you are. And Jesus answered, even if I do bear witness about myself, my testimony is true. For I know where I came from, the light, and where I'm going, the light. But you do not know where I came from and where I'm going. You judge according to the flesh. And hear these words, John 8:15. I judge no one. I judge no one. John 8:15. Write that down. If you're LGBTQ2IA plus and people are using the Bible against you, I judge no one. And let me be clear, this is in multiple interpretations. That was the book commonly used by the Roman Catholic people. It's also said here, John 8:15, you judge by human standards. I pass judgment on no one. That's the New International Version of the Bible. So wouldn't it be marvelous if people who actually believed in Jesus, who are actually, we know, the loudest people against us, LGBTQ2IA plus, when it comes to discrimination, what if they actually listened to the words of Jesus? I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you're following Jesus, but you're not listening to the words of Jesus, that's a problem. There's not a lot of light going on there. There's not a lot of remembrance that the light is there. I judge no one, said Jesus. I could stop right now and just leave you with that verse and then have you carry that throughout the weeks and months ahead and share it with other people. And I hope you will share it with other people. But there's a lot more going on behind all of this. And if you are in a situation where you feel like you're about to judge someone, really just remind yourself to go back to that light. I know that at family events or big events where you might meet some colleagues or whatever, there's always somebody who doesn't want to come up to me, right? Because I'm the lesbian in the corner over there. I'm the woman who's, maybe I'll be with my partner, maybe there'll be a few of us there, but there's always a few people who never want to meet me. And at this point I'm used to it. But when I was young, it really hurt. Okay. So what if, to let your light shine, or if we imagine that somebody could, who was in a situation where they had never gone up to that family member who's gay, they'd never gone up to that colleague who's gay, trans, queer, whatever you want to say. But what if they just did one day say, I'm going to let my light shine today. I'm going to go up to this person. I'm going to open up my light and I'm going to hug that person. And I'm going to say, I am so sorry that I have not shown you love until this very minute. It's too long in the coming because my light was blocked, but now I'm getting it. I see. So you might have heard of Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of many books. And this book was given to me by a minister in June, called The Circle of Fire. And he affirms the need to see our worth through self-love. And he says, God is here. God is living inside you as life, as love. But you have to see the truth, or there's nothing. You're here to be happy, to live your life, and express what you are. You're created to perceive the beauty of creation and to live your life in love. But if you cannot find the love inside you or in that person, the whole world can love you, but it will not make a difference. So if you cannot find love inside of yourself, whether you're LGBTQ2IA+, or you're someone who is just struggling, or you're someone who is still discriminating, all the love we can try to give you will not matter unless you love yourself. And it makes it really hard to be present to people, to others, when you're not loving yourself. It makes me sad because not only does this world need more people who assert the equality and value of all people, and that includes you and all your neighbors and friends and family, but we need to remind the members of the LGBTQ2IA+ community that they matter, because it's easy to forget when it comes at you every day. Microaggression after microaggression, joke after joke, pretending, apathy, humiliation, blocking you, no natural flow, no divine order. And yet we are the light, just like you. The light within needs expression because it just wants to come out. It wants to explode open. And some of us at Unity call this light in expression our Christ nature, our Christ self. When we express love and compassion to others, we are living with divine ideas in expression, which is what we call the Christ. And this light is, in essence, God, but the spirit of love. It is our creator. And now it's offering us an opportunity to create. And we can do this together. Unity does this together. which is a wonderful experience. And we need to remind our family and friends when they're not hearing that they're stopping others from letting their light shine, maybe that their light isn't shining. Can we help them so that we can make sure that people are able to live full, healthy lives? So I'm going to ask you to do this exercise with me to help work with the light within. If you just want to take a look at your body, the light tends to be in the torso area. Okay, I mean, we have photons everywhere, but the majesty of your divine connection to God is in this area where you have this, like this tunnel. And it is, remember that from here, God sits within you, and you can have a conversation at any time you want. There's an amazing instrument of love and peace within you, because you are that aspect of the loving source. And when you look down to this area, or just talk to God from wherever you want to, you can say, I love you, and I know you want me to love all beings with ease. I am working on this, and it is becoming more and more my truth that I love myself and all people. We can teach people to have conversations with God, because this is a way in. This is a way to find that light. So whichever sexual orientation or gender you live, you are the natural expression of a loving, living spirit that is sharing its glorious nature through you. By the way, when you live the light you are and accept the light in others, your consciousness goes way up, just to point that out. If you can get there to loving everybody equally, you have a higher consciousness. So there's this little tiny, tiny story. And it goes like this. A good man was teaching a lesson to his granddaughter. And he said, see that cup of milk? You should always try to remember to see your life at least half full, not half empty. Just like you see that glass is more full than empty. And the little girl turns to her granddad and she says, yeah, but what if I don't like what's in the glass? So what if you don't like what you've been given? What if you don't like your life and what you've had to handle? What if it's harder for you to be you than you can sometimes manage? I know I had that trouble for quite a while. I just want to take a moment to honor that in people, that sometimes we don't know how to handle what we've been given, whether it's because you're LGBTQ2IA+, or you're on the other side and you're saying, I love them, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to see the glass half full in a situation. Let's unfold that a bit so that we can have some more attitude about really recognizing the need to open, to let our light shine. I want to take a moment to address a notion placed in the world by ministers, priests, pastors. And I'm going to challenge this notion. And the notion is that we are to love the sinner, but hate the sin. Okay. That one always got me. Really? When I was young, I was like, really? And now it's like, okay, that's hurt a lot of people. In fact, people have killed themselves because of that ridiculous statement. So you know at Unity, we don't believe in sin. I just want you to know, if you're just thinking about joining us, we don't believe in sin. We know that everybody in this world is equal and you all deserve love and compassion. So here's what that statement looks like to me. So just remember, you need to love the sinner, but not the sin. What does that say? Here's how it looks to me. I love you, just not the way you act. I love you, just not the way you dress. I love you, just not the friends you have. I love you, just never mind being anything other than like me. Be me so I can love you. What sense does that make? That's all they're saying. What they're saying is be me or more like me, because apparently they've got it all figured out and you don't. And they've been supported and guided their whole lives through their church community and through the cultural biases to believe that. And I'm going to ask everybody to challenge that, because all it's saying is if you're not like me, I don't know what the heck to do. Because I have never learned to accept people's differences. That's what that says. I don't know what to do. I've never accepted differences. So now I'm just going to judge you because I don't know what else to do. Whew, that's a tough one. For many, acceptance is a steep climb, a steep climb. Boldly go if you can. But you can do it, you know, because remember, you are that light within. It's all in there. So you're not climbing a mountain over there or there, you're climbing this mountain. And somewhere inside of you, just under the fear, just under the misinformation, is a really great, loving nature that wants to explode open and love everyone. Because you are the light of the world and it cannot be blocked forever. Excuse me. So this is why I have absolute trust in the future of humanity, because I know that love will always win. That love is pouring through each of us. And yes, it's blocked today, but something will come along to unblock you. So you either do it consciously in deep awareness of your need to do this, or you will be pushed along to wake up. You cannot block love. You cannot block your divine nature. It will burst open, and more people are going to live in openness, in acceptance, in awareness, because God is more prevalent than hatred, fear, and all the other considerations. We can pray that people who live in their forgetfulness of love will one day join us all in their hearts. My favorite teacher of unity is Eric Butterworth, and he said this: we sometimes have mental blocks that impede the free flow of love in and through us, but we are creatures of love. We need to discover what it is in our personalities that turns off the innateness of our being. And he points out that we are conduits of flow of divine love, and that love is infinite. And guess what? It can't be blocked. This is all natural. So you can imagine the wasted hours people are putting in to block that natural inflow love. It takes more work to block your love than to set it free, to set free that light, that spirit of love. I think sometimes people think that they're actually protecting themselves or someone they believe they love by ignoring natural order. They've convinced themselves that someone else is responsible for how they feel. So when I think of maybe I'm this person who says, well, I can't handle gay people. So I've convinced myself that it's their fault that I can't handle this, right? But I hate to break it to you, but if you're feeling heavy or overwhelmed by another community, that's you. That's not them. What you need to do is understand your own feelings, feelings of embarrassment, feelings of shame, so that you don't go out there and embarrass or shame others because of how you feel. We are born just as we were meant to be. And not one person is expendable. Not one. And not one child of God in their life can be left in pain anymore. Homophobia is not over. It's not over. LGBTQ, a lot of transphobia out there right now, people. We've got to fight this. We've got to be there at the leading edge and be the support people. So think of this. We live in a magnificent, diverse community. Our world community is so diverse, right? And we are right next. Our Milky Way galaxy is right next to trillions of other galaxies, all unique. They're all unique. And yet, when you come down to the little, not even a pinprick that we have decided to claim that there's only one sexual orientation. In spite of the trillions of differences, we have chosen as humans to say there's just one sexual orientation that we're really going to support. Is that logical or illogical? It strikes me as illogical. And for me to teach that to the world is irrational. Why would you teach something so illogical to the world? But people do. They do it all the time. Worse yet, this gets me. They would fight to maintain the illogical and irrational belief systems and create discrimination. What is the sense? Where are you spending your energy? It's just not okay. You know, in the Bible, not once did Jesus say anything against any gender or sexual orientation. Not once. And yet people will use the Bible against you. So be clear. Never was he quoted as saying anything against you. And we know he declared, I judge no one. That means everyone, no one, all. Coming from someone who is a lesbian, I came out to myself in 1980. That's a long time ago. Yes, I'm old. And the very thing I was afraid of happened. I experienced so much abandonment when I started telling people that I was a lesbian. 1985, I'm starting to tell my friends and my family. And for so many of us, being abandoned by family and friends and the greater community destroyed us. Too many people have died. I remember one fella, he came walking down the hall one September and he looked amazing. The year before, he was this guy walking around like this, and he was greasy hair, and he was just as a loner. I loved Michael. He was a great guy. And then the next year, he was walking and talking. He had his bag over his shoulder, and don't you play with me, baby, because I have come out. And he had to withstand a lot of abuse. And when he got HIV, his family kicked him out of the house. Just when he needed them the most, he was thrown out. That happens even today. There's so much work to do still. There are consequences for not letting our light shine so we can help members of the LGBTQ2IA plus community let their light shine too. Some of the issues that are still there are suicidal ideation in youth, even the action of suicide, homelessness, poverty, poor self-esteem, drug abuse, alcoholism, all forms of neglect are still out there. And we have to be a part of making a difference because unity knows that we are unapologetically inclusive. And so we have to speak out. We need love everywhere through everything. And this is the power that we know in the first principle, that God is everywhere present, in everyone, everywhere. And again, Eric Butterworth says, for within every person, there is a deep reservoir of inexhaustible wisdom and love and power. And once we remind ourselves of this, we can use this inexhaustible wisdom of love and power to walk our walk and talk our talk exactly as we are. So I'm going to leave you with this. At the very least, let it be that we all do our part in supporting all people. It is no longer okay to do nothing. If we do nothing, we are relegated to the conditions of an untrue life. And the truth will remain inaccessible if we let culturally biases that are driven through us to become our reality. We have to challenge these biases. I must choose for me to be the light that I am and to be the light of help for others. Perhaps you can join me in saying, today I am a source of light, helping everyone to let their light shine. Today I'm a source of light, helping everyone to let their light shine. Wherever you are, God is, and you can let your light shine. Thank you, everyone. God loves you from the inside out. Our meditation today will be 2 minutes of silence.